Screaming Chewy Show, your source of entertainment and overall fuckery. And it starts now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Screaming Chewy Show. I'd like to introduce special guest, actor, producer, writer, jack of all trades, Bill Foster. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on.
You bet. Always glad to.
So how you doing, man?
Oh, doing good. Worked in the vineyard for a while this morning, so came home, enjoying the afternoon with the grandkids, and I've been working on the short movie, trying to get it finished up today, and working on entering some contests, and just kind of do a little computer work this afternoon, getting some things done.
Work never ends, huh?
That never does. My wife said, "I don't know what stop and relax is."
Hey, that's good, man. Gotta stay busy, right?
That's right. Keeps you busy, keeps you going.
So, what movie are you working on?
Right now, I'm working on our short movie. It's called I've Got Your Six. It's about 20 minutes long. And I wrote this movie, and we had a brainstorm, and it's turned out really well, where we made every actor in it a veteran of the military, U.S. veteran. And so because it's about a World War II veteran, he's 93 years old, and he's in the nursing home, and he sees in the newspaper where they're fixing to turn his old farm into a shopping center. So he wants to, even though he sold it years ago, he wants to go back and see it one last time. So he escapes from the nursing home and goes to his old farm. And of course, that doesn't go over well when you escape from the nursing home. So a deputy that finds him happens to be, and really is, an Iraqi war veteran. So I wrote that in there as that. But they develop this bond while he's he starts off trying to get him, let me get you back to the nursing home. Let's go. And the old man's like, just sit right here. Let's sit down. I want to tell you about this old, because the newspaper called it worthless piece of land, and he wants to convince people it's not really worthless. And so he has sat down beside him, and through the movie, you can see the bond being built between this deputy and this 93-year-old man. A young, 30-something deputy and a 93-year-old man all of a sudden create a bond because, they're both in the Army. One fought in the Philippines in World War II. The other fought in Iraq. So they joined together, and the captain back at headquarters, he's not a veteran, so he's trying to get the old man hauled in, bring him back to the nursing home. And so the deputy defies his superior and says, "I'm not bringing him in." And so,
Damn.
and in small towns, everybody has a scanner, and what they don't realize is while the deputy and the captain are arguing on the radio, all these veterans are starting to hear what's going on. And all of a sudden, it's like the cavalry comes, and so they're like, "Not today, not on my watch." And so they just start going. They go to help the old man, and I don't know if you ever heard of Bill Evans, the jazz pianist back in the 70s and late 60s, like 18 times Emmy Award winning. His son Evan is my musician, and he's worked on the music, and the music itself is like a journey right now. I can sit back, and I told Evan today, I said, I can sit back and just take a journey on the music by itself without even watching the movie. And I don't know if you're supposed to be moved by when you watch your own movie or not, but I just got through watching it a while ago, and I just sat there and stared at it. I just couldn't do anything. I was so moved by the music and the acting and the dialogue. I forget I wrote it. I forget I directed it. I just enjoyed the movie.
Wow. And, that's when it's good.
The music, it's amazing when you get that music interlocked with the movie, and it just moves you to a different place. And so I'm entering in a contest as soon as we get off the air here in Arizona, and then next week I'll enter it in the Cannes Film Festival or Cannes Film Festival. I guess I need to learn how to say it right, Cannes Film Festival. I've heard it both ways, but they've got a special section for short movies, and I'm going to enter it in there. And got invited today to enter it in the it's Castrovia Film Festival in Italy. So why not? So we'll try to get it going over there too. So working on some invitations now to have a private viewing. So some of those that's really had an integral part in it come watch it maybe next Saturday night before everybody else does.
The VIP viewing, huh?
Yeah. VIP viewing at the house.
Damn, that sounds badass.
About 15 or 16 people, get together and watch it. And Stephenville, where I'm living now, it's a town of about 100,000 people. actually their college here just went Division I. They're going to have a big red carpet spotlight for everybody that's involved in the movie. Big premiere for it. I've talked to a guy that sings some of the background in the bar room. He's going to do a concert, and then after the concert, then we move into and watch the movie. So it's going to be a pretty neat deal once COVID lifts and we can all gather again, in the bars.
Oh man, damn! It's gonna be crazy, man. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, and we've got bikers, veteran bikers in the movie, and they're just as nice as they can be. And we've got cowboys, and I got them all in the bar, and I said, okay, we're not going to have any cowboys versus biker fights today.
Just one day.
And they all worked together well and just did anything we asked them to, and especially when I asked them to rev up their bikes for the microphone, and nearly blew the microphone out. Big old Harleys going after it, and so we'll have all of those. We ended up with probably 50 to 75 volunteers in the movie, of veterans, all ages from 20 to 90 probably in there, and so it's just really neat to watch all those veterans come together. And we had a counselor on set. We never had to use her, luckily, but it was amazing talking to some of those that I knew personally. They were talking about how hard it was for them mentally to join together again with a bunch of veterans that had been to Vietnam, and they'd been to Vietnam. They kind of, couldn't help but start talking about some things. And some of them told me it was really hard for them to finish this movie because it was so emotional being around that many veterans again. Like one of them had never been around veterans, and since he came back from Vietnam back in 71. And so, he's got a story all of his own. When he came back, he got in the airport, they blocked him and wouldn't let him go to the restroom, back in the day. And so he said, I just went on the wall. They're going to block me. I'll just stand right here in the hallway and you watch me. I'm going to go to the bathroom, And so, he's got, all these type of stories. I got my father-in-law in there who was in the Air Force 25 years, and he served in Vietnam also, and got him on there. And so so we try to use a whole men, women, young and old, all in it, and try to get together. But I'm really excited about this movie here. Even though it is just a short, I'm fired up about it.
And veterans, they have the best stories.
Oh yeah. Yes. I've got a distant cousin that won the Congressional Medal of Honor. I've got that on my idea list for movies in the future, in World War II. And, just different things like that. I wrote a screenplay about Vietnam, and they performed it in the local theater, and they performed it 9 times and had 9 standing ovations. And immediately after, people were talking about, I need to turn it into a movie and add to it, add the Vietnam part and all that. So we want to go to the Philippines and film that. So that's on my list to do. And so I'm 58, so I've got enough to do from now till I'm 78.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't plan on slowing down any.
That's good, man. Because they say once you I heard anyway that once you retire or like you stop doing stuff, I heard that people have a shorter lifespan. I don't know if it's true.
Use my dad for example. He died just in December. He's 87, but he was about 82, and he retired when he was 75, 76, and he went to therapy, and he was walking and doing everything. And then when he got to be about 80, 81, he said, I'm done, and he sat down. And when he sat down and quit doing it, his health just drastically went down, and we ended up putting him in the nursing home back in 2016. So he was there for 4 years, and so it does. Once you stop, your body gets not complacent, but it just goes in that atrophy, and your mind, he quit going around people, so his mind quit being exercised. There is scientific proof that the more people you're around, the more your mind stays active, the longer your life. And so, don't become a hermit. Go in there. And so, do
gotta
that.
Stimulate your mind.
Yeah.
So, what inspired you to write this movie?
I've had this script in my mind for a long time. I mean, it was just like a short essay when I first started it. And I never did write it down, but it's like a 1-page essay. I was thinking about, an old man talking about his land and the history of his land and everything that went on in this valley. And after we got close to finishing the feature movie, I started wanting to move on. And I really wanted somebody special to play the deputy. And a friend of mine, Mike Alvarado, one day I'm out in my vineyard working, and I just happened to think of him. I said, you know, Mike would be a great person to play that deputy. So I quit what I was doing, went and got my phone and called him. He said, man, I'm all on board. Sent him the script. He loved it. And so, you know, I cast him right away because we were going to do veterans, and he's it was in Iraq. And then we did casting calls for the rest of it. Corbett Hall plays the old man, wonderful actor. He plays in my Showdown on the Brazos too. But both of those two guys, it's going to be a battle who gets best actor and best supporting actor. I would choose one over the other one just a little bit, just because of the role, the way it was written. But I don't know. The judges may pick them completely opposite, but they're going to win some awards. I guarantee you that.
Damn, man. Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, I sit there and watch it and forget who I am, where I'm at, you know, just watching them. They did such a great job.
That's when it's a good movie, when you just get lost in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it was one of my first movie that I was not acting in. I stayed directly behind the camera, directing it and not acting. And a lot of people ask which one I like to do better. I love acting, don't get me wrong, but it's about 60-40, 70-30 right now. 60 to 70% directing, 30 to 40% acting, because when you're acting, you create that one person that in the picture. If you say you take a big picture and you say, okay, I'm going to create this one character in here, but in directing, you create the whole picture, you paint the whole thing. And so, especially when you're lucky enough, and I've been real lucky enough to write some of the screenplays that have turned out well, and so that makes it even more, you know, because I've already got it up here exactly what I want to see. And I've got a new assistant, and he's worked in the movies a lot, Paul Foster, no relation, but he's always laughing at me because he said, novelist directors are the hardest to work with because we want to tell everything. We're not, you know, not a true movie director. He says, you got to leave something for the audience to speculate and try to figure out. And as a novelist, you're writing all that in there, you know, and as a novelist, you're describing the setting, you're describing the feelings, you're describing everything, and you put your dialogue in there with it. As a director, movie director, you know, you leave all that out and let them figure it out and bring it into them. So I'm learning through that, but he keeps laughing at me. No, we're not going to shoot that scene. That's the novelist coming out in you. No, we'll skip that one. So,
well, I never thought of it that way, but that makes sense because as a novelist, every little detail is in there.
Mm-hmm.
The smell in the air.
I hadn't either till I started working with Paul, and he started making fun of me. Like, okay, you're right. I understand.
He's all, leave that out of there.
Yeah, leave that part out. You don't need to tell them how to get from point A to point B. Because if you're writing about a cowboy riding off a hill down into a valley, you're taking everybody along with you down that hill and down the valley. But in the movie, you just got the man riding the horse down, and you're not telling the whole thing. And so, you know, you go from 5 or 6 pages of telling how the horse is sliding through the sand and the gravel rolling down the hills and everything to 10 seconds of video, you know.
Wow. So is this your first time writing and directing?
Showdown on the Brazos is, and then, well, I take it back. I did do a little directing with the iPhone on the contest, which I won several years ago. But the contest went belly up. So the judge called and said, you won, but you don't get your money because we're in lawsuits. And so I was like, well, okay. So, and what that was is they sent you a script, and then you portrayed it how you wanted to. And I shot it on the iPhone. And that kind of spurred me on to doing Showdown on the Brazos. And I wrote the screenplay, and so I really expanded on that. Started out 30 pages, now it's 120. Started out with 4 or 5 actors, now it's over 250 actors.
Damn.
Yeah, and the last scenes that we're going to film has 75 to 100 people in the scene. You know, it's a hanging scene, a big town scene, and a couple of others. And so with the governor saying that we could only gather 10 at the time, kind of blew us out of the water. We were all scheduled and everything, and that came out and was like, doggone it, we almost got it in. But I'm fixing to ask so close. And I'm fixing to send ask the county judge for a waiver, see if he can let us film without, you know, because with 75 cars there, everybody's going to know there's going to be too many people there. It's not like you're hiding it. It's on the main street of town. There's a movie set's right there, and there's going to be cars everywhere. They're going to know something's going on. So there's no hiding it. So I'm going to ask him if we can go ahead and film and see if he'll grant us that waiver. But we'll see, and then we can finish it and get it out too. So we were hoping to be through, but you know, we were through it one time, but then when we sent it to our second editor, which is Paul now, he and I sat down and watched the whole movie, and he looked at it a whole different perspective, and there were some gaps in it that we really didn't like. And so I went back and rewrote some scenes to tie those gaps together, and that's what we were shooting. And we had 3 weekends of filming to do, and we got 2 of them out of the way, and that third one was just COVID got us.
Oh man. So it sounds like a Western, but a little bit modernized with some bikers type in it.
The I've Got Your Six is a modern day Western. I've Got Your
Oh.
Six is modern day Western because, you know, they dress up like the deputy has the white shirt, khaki pants, Stetson hat on like we wear in Texas and a lot of Arizona. They wear the Rocky. Does Arizona police most of them wear the Rocky type
Yep.
flat brim?
Yep.
In Texas, we all wear Stetsons as far as law enforcement. So he's got the Stetson on. The old man has the old cowboy hat on. In fact, I've got it here somewhere. Though my grandkids are like, "Papa, that's your hat." And I'm like, "Yeah, here it is." I don't know where it went, but and then, you know, so then that puts it into where I can enter it into some modern Western contest. And so, you know, the old man talks about raising horses and vegetables on the farm. So it kind of gives it that farm, rural related atmosphere to it. So, and then of course, then the people that come to help him with the veterans, they're all walks of life, you know, mechanics, bikers, cooks, waitresses, bartenders, everybody come to his aid. So it helped, you know, we try to blend everybody. And kind of the purpose of the movie too is to let veterans know when they feel like they're all alone, they're really not. There's always that network out there that's there to help them whenever they get ready.
I love that, man, because, you know, I could see how they could feel like maybe alone, you know, because you come out of war and there's a lot of stuff you probably went through that people don't understand and you probably can't talk about, you know, maybe.
Yeah, in fact, just a little bit. The man that plays the deputy, he doesn't like to sleep because he knows when he goes to sleep, he's going to have some of these flashbacks from the Iraq War, and so he still, even as long as he's been out of it, still has trouble, as many of them would, you know, losing friends and things over there that they really can't talk about because they come back, and let's say you're excited to be home, you're excited to be around your family, but then there's nobody that you can relate to talk about what you just went through. My military advisor, he's in there, plays a cowboy that hears it on his truck radio and comes and talks to the old man. You know, he told me he had some of the same issues of coming back. He's a little too aggressive when he came back, had to really go through some things, through some counseling to really calm down and get down to everybody's level because you're so hyped up when you're over there. It's life and death. And, you know, you're on that edge all the time. I can't imagine. And then all of a sudden you come home and your, you know, wife, 2 kids running around the house, and is this it? you know, nobody's shooting at me, you know? And so, you know, he had some really difficult times, and I know thousands of veterans out there that are like that. And so hopefully this will help show them that, you know, there's people, not only civilians, but veterans that out there that can help them out and get them through these tough times.
That's so awesome. You know, I used to have a neighbor. His name was Ed, and he was an old guy. And when I first met him, like I thought he was crazy because, like, my brother, he was little and he was like a really hyper kid, and he like go in the backyard and like mess around and stuff. And at night, he had one. You remember those little laser pointers?
Mm-hmm.
So he had one of those, and he was shining it to our neighbor's backyard, to Ed's backyard. And then Ed points a laser back at my little brother. He's like, "You know what this is? This is a 45."
Oops.
And then, you know, later we started talking, and I got to know Ed, and we became really good friends. And, you know, I would sit down in his front yard, and he just tell me all these stories, and I could just sit there all day and just listen to him, you know?
Oh, yeah. My distant cousin that won the Congressional Medal of Honor, tell you his story real quick. And there's a hill now, unofficially named Knight's Hill. His last name is Knight. And they were pinned down by the Japanese in India. And a lot of people don't know we even fought in India, but we were. And we were pinned down, and nobody could move because if you got from behind your cover, you got shot or shot at. I mean, they were bunkers. They were just all there, and they couldn't get out. Well, back in World War II, I don't know if you know this, you go in on a buddy system. You and your friend, you and your brother could go in together, and you were guaranteed to go through boot camp together and be stationed together. You were never split apart. So him and his brother were together, and he sees his brother get shot. And so he thinks his brother's dead, which I'll go ahead and tell you, his brother was not killed, but he was injured, but he wasn't killed. But he thinks his brother's dead. So he goes crazy and he jumps up and starts charging the pillboxes. You know what pillboxes are, cement barriers that you can barely see through. And he's throwing grenades in the Japanese pillboxes, blowing them up one time. And he's by himself going up this mountain. And they're shooting him and wounded him. And he just keeps going and blowing them up. And everybody, always men see him and just go freak crazy and jump up and charge the hill. And so once he gets shot, mortally wounded, he lays there with his radio and continues to give orders on how to capture the mountain until he dies. And his men, they were so enraged by him getting shot, and they all jump up out of their barrier from their hiding and take over the mountain and take it away from the Japanese. And so they named it after him, Knight's Hill. And that's how he won the Congressional Medal of Honor. So there's a movie there. I just, that's on my list.
That's so badass. Wow.
Yeah. And his brother lived to be able to tell the story. And in fact, what's amazing is an uncle on the other side of my family was there and saw it too. And, you wouldn't think that, through all that together, the stories would ever come together like that. But an uncle on another side of my dad's mother's side was actually there. And then there was a cousin on the other side of the family that was actually shot. So it's amazing how, the world was so small at that little window of time that he said, the Japanese just cut him down. As soon as he got out in the open, they just started hammering him with the bullets. And he made it through and killed several of them, and then was able to, as he died, radio in to direct everybody to take the mountain. So it's amazing, amazing story, and there's like that, how many stories like that are untold, of true valor, these guys taking fire and I was watching a movie the other day. I couldn't believe the stunts they did in this movie. What was that? Lone Survivor. Have you seen that movie, Lone Survivor?
No.
Oh, man, you got to watch it just for the stunts. When they jump off this mountain, they're rolling down these mountains, and you're just like, how did the stuntmen do that? But to be able to think that was a true story, there's one survives out of all the military on that one mountain over in Iraq is unbelievable. But, just recreating that is unbelievable.
I got to check that out. Lone Survivor?
Yeah. Oh, it's a great movie. Great. Mark Wahlberg was in it. Several. Ben Foster.
You know what? I think I actually seen it.
Yeah, it's probably 5 or 6 years old, but I don't watch that many movies, believe it or not. Don't have time, but I did sit and watch that movie, and it really does move you. And so hopefully some of these movies I'm making will move people the same way. It's a good movie when the end of it and they roll credits and everybody's going to be still sitting there watching. They're like, but the Showdown on the Brazos, it's got some funny things, and it's not all serious. And it's funny. Paul, he's not the comedian, my assistant, and he doesn't understand a lot of the jokes. You have different characteristics in people, and he's not a comedian, and so he's like, "Why'd they say that?" I said, "Oh, they were joking." "Oh, it's funny now. Yeah, I understand it." And then he gets to the other part and goes, "What are y'all talking about?" I said, "It was a joke." "Oh, okay, I understand." We'll leave it in there.
Goes over his head.
Yeah. And the part I didn't realize that mistake I made on that movie. I wrote it this way. I wrote it to where the main captain of the Texas Rangers and his partner, the main captain is very stiff and stoic all the time, and his partner is the comedian, and he's always making lighthearted everything. But I had my character crack a joke or two, and he's like, "We got to keep you the same stoic all the time." So we cut a lot of my joking out. And when I wrote the script, I told Larry Welch, who plays my partner, I said, "I really like your role better. You're funny, you're lighthearted, you're the womanizer, you're fun, fun to be around, drinking, get drunk type guy. And I'm this guy that just lost his family due to some outlaws, and I don't want to, do anything but just fight and kill and smoke cigars,
Nice. Wow. So I got your 6, and then you got another movie you're working on?
Yeah, the Showdown on the Brazos. That's when I was talking about the 2 Texas Rangers, and that's when we're just about through. And then I've just finished. I had the manuscript written. It's called I Heard the Quail Whistle, and I just transferred it into a screenplay and entered it in several contests. But I've got 4 results back and already won 4 awards, and so it's 4 for 4.
Damn.
And, yeah, it's exciting. We're going to start trying to pitch it over the wintertime, and hopefully, if COVID will let us start filming next spring, that'll be one that's going to be fully funded. You know, I can't do anymore. We funded the Showdown on the Brazos, and also I've Got Your Six, but we just can't do that anymore. It's not fair to my wife or the bank either.
Right.
But it's like she said, I'm ready to see something coming in rather than going out. So we'll start pitching that to investors, and hopefully we'll be able to start shooting that. And it's a Western, but it's a twist. My wife challenged me. I'd written 3 or 4 novels, and I've had one of them published. And she challenged me one day. We were on vacation in the mountains, and she says, "You need to write a Western about a woman being the hero." You can't turn down a challenge from your wife. You know, that's you can't do it. You got to do it. And so I wrote this story about a woman being the hero, and I heard the quail whistle. And so it's got a little twist there. Whereas the Irish redheaded lady like Maureen O'Sullivan, she's the hero of the whole movie.
Nice. I love that. You know, you don't see that very often in movies, especially Westerns.
And that's why I did it, because it's such a twist. And I write all my movies like the old 1950s, 60s genre of Westerns, John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, The Good Guy, things like that. I don't like a lot of the new ones. Now, some of them like Tombstone, just a good old Western. That's the kind that you really like, the truthful type. And so we try to make it as truth as possible. And, the women back then had to be so strong, but yet nobody listened to them. They couldn't even vote or own a business back then, but yet they took care of the kids. People don't know it, but they took care of all the chores around the house. Gathered the eggs, fed the chickens, milked the cows, fed the hogs, while the husband was out plowing the field. And then when the husband came back, she had to have supper ready for him, the kids bathed in bed, and then get up early next morning, cook breakfast, and start all over again. And so I tried to draw on that for the woman character, and that inner strength. And she goes through a lot of changes in life because they're Irish immigrants moving across with the promise of free land back in the 1870s, 80s. And something happens to them along the way on the wagon train. I can't tell you what happens, but without giving away the details. But, she goes through a really change in life, and she goes from, let's say, victim to vigilante is the whole premise of the whole movie. So, and then there's this an old marshal, that everybody's trying to get to retire, Robert Duvall type character that he comes along and helps her out, and everybody's trying, the marshal service is trying to get him to retire, and he won't retire because he's old, he's old crotchety marshal. And,
stubborn.
Yeah, he refuses to retire. Still the old style, track them down, shoot them, ask questions later. And so it's really a blending of an old and young, an older man helping a younger woman out. She goes through a lot of changes, and he's going through changes too. Does he retire? Does he keep doing what he's doing? And like I said, does he sit down and start poking at the fire the rest of his life, or keep chasing outlaws?
Hey, that sounds pretty fun, right? Chasing outlaws.
Yeah, as long as they don't shoot back, it's good.
Right.
That's the good thing about riding it. You can ride and not, I may get powder burns, but I don't get wounded too often. Now, I did break my leg filming Showdown on the Brazos.
Ouch.
My horse fell on me. He was kind of jumping around, so I thought I'd ride him around the corner, and I rode him around the corner. And the dirt road, I thought was dirt, was asphalt with wood shavings on it. And when he turned, he caught that asphalt, and his foot went out from under and fell on me, broke my leg. One man saw me, so he goes over and helps me. I said, just get me back on my horse. I got back on my horse, worked the rest of that from noon till the end of the day, and then 12 hours the next day, continued to direct and act. And that was on Sunday. Wednesday, I had a plate put in my leg.
You're crazy, man.
It hurt. Oh, gosh. There's one scene where I go into a building, a group of us do, and I told my cameraman when we were doing the editing, I said, when I walked through that door, I was doing everything to try to keep from throwing up. It hurts so, because I had to ride a horse, get off the horse, walk up some steps, and go in the building without limping. And
oh, my God.
And I was leaning against the building, just like, ugh. And the guys inside were like, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just tired." And I was just like, I wasn't telling anybody. My leg was broke. I knew it was broke. But,
just tired.
The blacksmith in my movie is actually the #1 pain doctor in San Antonio, and we were right by San Antonio. So he's sitting there. He goes Sunday afternoon. He says, "Why don't you come on down tomorrow morning before we open, and I'll X-ray it for you for free." And so we went down to San Antonio, and we X-ray it, and I hear the X-ray technician go, "Uh-oh." That's not a good sign. That's kind of like hearing the barber say, "Oh crap," you know.
Very true.
They wanted to do surgery right then, but that was in San Antonio, 3-4 hours away from home. I said, I don't want to put my wife through that, so we put a cast on it and came home, and they did surgery Wednesday, and that kind of delayed filming for 2 months because I couldn't film with a cast on my leg, but taking break a leg a little too serious. They say break a leg. I took it a little too serious.
Man, you're crazy, man. You broke your leg and you still filmed.
Yeah.
Kept the straight face.
The doctor said they couldn't believe the bone didn't come through the skin because I had to run on it in a couple of scenes. And I was just, had those big cavalry type boots on that comes to your knee. And it was like a cast because it swelled so big in there. And I just told everybody because it's during a gunfight scene. And I told everybody, well, I just got shot in the leg. That's why I'm limping, because I'll pretend. Of course, everybody knew it was broke by that time. But I had Jeff Davis, who's from L.A., an actor from out there. And then I had another actor from Iowa. And they were going to be gone after Sunday. So I had to get their scenes in. And I was in their scenes. So there wasn't any, okay, let's do it next weekend. Let's do it Monday, Tuesday, whenever I get better. No, we had to get it done. I mean, I didn't have any choice. So and what's funny, like I said, the only person that saw me hurt my leg was this man that helped me on the horse. And he went and found my wife and told her, says, your husband's hurt. And so I'm sitting out there on the horse trying to direct on my horse because I hadn't got off. She walked over and said, what did you do? I said, get me some pain medicine because I take it from her back anyway. And she goes, what did you do now? I said, well, kind of hurt my leg. She goes, is it broke? And I said, I think so, but I'm not telling anybody.
It's all swollen up. You're like, little bit.
Yeah, it's just a little broke. It's kind of like being a little pregnant. It's just a little broke.
Wow, man.
And I think on the credits of Showdown on Brazos as we're rolling, we're going to show a picture of the X-ray in the credits.
That's awesome, man. Wow.
You just keep rocking and rolling and do what you got to do. And it wasn't the horse's fault, and he's fine today, been in a lot more movies. So, I can't blame him for slipping and be like me or you slipping on the ice. It just happens.
Mm-hmm. Man, I can't believe you did that.
I can't either now.
I've never broken a bone, but I've like sprained my ankle or stuff like that. And man, that hurt that fucking hurt bad. Like I can't even imagine breaking it.
It's a whole different pain. As soon as you do it. It's just, and all you can think about is laying down. All I want to do is quit. All I want to do is lay down and prop it up. And a friend of mine that was there with me that night, he helped me get my boot off. I was glad I didn't have to cut it off. And the next day I couldn't believe I got my boot on, but kept it iced all night long. And my wife told him, he was a cook. And she said, we'll cook. You follow Bill around, and took my director's chair. And she said, you follow him. And every time he stops, you make him sit down. And so here's my friend. Every step I take, he's right behind me with his chair, and he sets it down. And he says, sit down. And I sit down, and I prop my foot up. And we kept the ice bag on the outside of the boot, taped up with duct tape. And then if I had to act, somebody would cut it off with scissors real quick, and I'd go act, and then come back and wrap it back up and prop it back up and direct from the chair there. I'd move a little bit, and he'd move my chair. So,
that's a good friend right there.
That's right. He was the best man at my wedding. We've been friends ever since 1980.
He's got your 6, man.
Yeah, he does. He's got my 6 with a chair.
Wow, man. So, any do you have a certain date when so I Got Your 6 is coming out soon, right?
Yes. It'll be hopefully, if it's selected in the Arizona Wild Bunch Film Festival, right where you're from, it'll be shown in October. And so I feel pretty confident that's when I'm fixing to enter it in. And so if it's selected to be shown there, that'll actually be the premiere. And then as soon as COVID lets us, we'll have one here in Stephenville, and then we'll get it out, distribution. There are distributions on short films. And so we're going to try to do that first so we make money and maybe put it on, the streaming videos. And so we'll let you know when that happens.
Sure, man.
Come on down to Wilcox. I'll let you know. And if we make the finals, and you'll be able to keep up, just check Wild Bunch Film Festival and the results are going to come, not the results, but the finalists are going to come out August the 3rd. And so today's the deadline. So that's why we're pushing it and getting it in. And maybe you can come on down there and come out there and see us and see it there on the big screen.
Oh man, I would love to, man.
You bet.
Damn. And so you got anything else? Any novels or your other movies? You're still working on those as well, right?
Yeah, I've got a novel on Amazon.com you can pick up. It's called Showdown on the Guadalupe. And then it's different from the movie. It's totally different. And then I've also got a play on Amazon.com called Windows Home. It's that Vietnam one I was telling you about. It's a script. And then I heard The Quail Whistle is the one I'm working on now. We have not published it because we want to keep it under wraps until we made a movie out of it. And so that's kind of what we're working on right now. And so, like I said, changed into a screenplay. And it doesn't qualify for a lot of contests because it's 160 pages long. And they said it's a little long for, a lot of contests are only 120 pages. I said, I can't trim 40 pages out. I don't know. I just can't do it, Like
It's too good.
Off,
For sure.
Which one do I want to lose? I don't want to lose any of them,
Yep. Hey,
So
it's meant to be, right?
That's right. That's right. And the good Lord's had such a great blessing, keeps opening doors like Evan Evans coming into our life for music. I had all these people apply to music, do the music for the Showdown, and I picked Evan, and we've just become great friends, and it's just been such a great deal, and be able to meet people like you on these shows and just brought talent, unbelievable talent. And so just thank good Lord every day I pinch myself, I've gotten to work with Pierce Brosnan, Christoph Waltz, people like that. No, I'm just no poor country boy, grew up with nothing. I had nothing growing up. And so I'm thankful every day for what I've got. And just to be able to do that means anybody that wants to make it can make it. Just got to work hard enough.
That hard work pays off.
Mm-hmm. You bet. And
Wow, man. And I'm glad you did that for the veterans as well. I'm sure you made their day right there. I'm sure they made a lot of friends and
oh, you bet.
had some good times.
Yeah, and they can't wait to see it, and so they're all going to get to see it when we do the Stephenville show because they're all from local, anywhere from San Antonio up to Dallas, within driving distance. So they'll be able to come in and see the grand premiere, and they can all be VIPs. Give them all something to make them sure the VIP will have the big banner where they can get their picture made on the red carpet and the spotlights and all that. So we want to really play it up well for them.
Wow, red carpet, man.
Yeah, because most of them won't ever be in another movie, but get a red carpet treatment. They need one as soon as they get home from the service, but this is kind of repay all of them for what they've done, and in the movie too, make them all feel really important.
That's so awesome, man. And I'm sure that movie will open people's eyes too about, maybe about veterans, maybe their family members or people they know.
Yeah, you bet. Hopefully.
Wow, man. Well, great stuff, man. And thank you for coming on.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. And I do want to throw this out there. If you're a man over 50, get a colonoscopy. I know it's kind of odd to bring that up, but hey, I went in for a checkup earlier in summertime. It was time for a colonoscopy. I didn't get one because, with COVID, they weren't giving away, not giving away. They weren't doing them. We did 2 tests. I came back tested positive for colon cancer.
Oh, no.
And then went in and had a colonoscopy, got it taken care of. I'm cancer free now. But
nice, man.
if I hadn't done what I did and waited till next year, put it off 6 months, put it off like most men do, we'd have been talking about something totally different next year. So my advice, men, if you're over 50, it's not a big deal. Get your colonoscopy done, and you only have to do it once every 5 to 8 years, and you're done. It was my 8th year. I had one back when I was 50. I had one now when I'm 58, and now I've got to have one every year. But I'd rather do that than have the cancer part of it. But that's a shocker when the doctor calls you and tells you tested positive for cancer. But we were real fortunate and caught it at stage 0 and was able to remove that cancerous polyp and done. But like I said, if I hadn't gone in to doctor, and it was just a general checkup, and who goes in for those, especially men, we're working, we're tough. We don't have to go to the doctor. By golly, if we're not dying or a broke leg, we don't go to the doctor.
Right.
But I just went in like I thought I was supposed to, and it was just that time. And so when I failed 2 tests, and then we got the colonoscopy, got it done. So there's a word when you get to be 50, it's time to get it checked.
Good advice, man. Because I agree with you. I work with a lot of older men, and I think a lot of people, they kind of like, they know it's like in the back of their mind, but they're like, it's not important, you know.
Yeah, it just so happened I saw a friend of mine, and I told him, I said, "Boy, my attitude totally changed because I got a news the other day that's changed my whole outlook." And he said, "Yeah, I got the same thing." How he knew I was talking about, his was stage 3, and he's having to wear a colonoscopy for 2 months. And they were fixed that week. They were fixed to go back in there and reconnect him. So if you don't take care of it now, the odds are you may have to have one of those, and those won't be fun either. So take care of yourself and make sure you get checked up. And that's one of those diseases that there are symptoms, but they're so common you don't put the 2 and 2 together until they told me I failed, and I started saying, "Yeah, I did this. Yeah, I had 4 of the 5 symptoms. Yeah, I agree. But before you get diagnosed, you think it's just normal, But if you're over 50, go get checked.
Yeah, I heard that's one of the deadliest, right? The colon cancer.
Second deadliest cancer there is. Part of it is because there's no symptoms until it's too late, and so that's the problem. If I hadn't gone in for 3 years, well, I'd be dead here in 4 years probably or so. So, so luckily we caught it, and I'll go back every year to make sure it's healthy, and because when they tell you got cancer, you start looking at everything around like, we're just starting a vineyard. We got grandkids. We're just moving into a house. How can I leave my wife alone with all this kind of stuff? So it changes everything when they tell you that. You all of a sudden become mortal because, before that you're immortal. You're going to live forever, at least till you're 80 or 90, not 58. And so all of a sudden you start going, maybe. So luckily, my story turns out well. So hopefully everybody else's does too. So just stay in touch and get checked out.
I'm glad that happened, man. I'm glad you're well and
thank you.
Got that done.
Yep. It was a tough week or two there, but we got through it. So
man, breaking legs.
Yeah, break another leg. I don't care. Don't make me go through that other again.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for coming on, man.
Hope to see you in Arizona in October.
For sure, man. I mean, I would love to be there, man. Oh, my God. On the big screen.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Take care.
Yeah, keep in touch, man. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And if you'd like to support this podcast, you can find me at anchor.fm/screamingchewy@gmail.com. There'll be 3 options for a monthly subscription. First one, I believe, starts at $1 a month, yo. Yeah, $1 a month. Yeah, and if you don't want to, that's cool. You can follow me on Facebook and YouTube, Screaming Chewy Show, for some memes, some more videos, full episodes, and behind the scenes kind of deal, right? You can follow me on Twitter, Screaming Chewy. Yeah, not Screaming Chewy Show. I should probably change it. But it's just Screaming Chewy. And thanks for listening. Peace.